Hello everyone, my name is Keizia. I am studying in 9th standard in Medona Matriculation Higher Secondary School, GR Nagar Mdu. I am also a student of Junior IAS Academy. Today we are going to talk about the topic metals and non-metals of class 8. Now let's see a small introduction.
Introduction. Hi friends, as we all know that we can see so many things in our surroundings. They are made up of different materials. Some of them are hard in nature and are called metals, while most of them are soft and so they are called non-metals. So in this module, we are going to learn about properties and uses of metals and non-metals.
In this lesson, we are going to see the metals and non-metals. For example, take this iron table. It is made up of iron. It is made up of iron. It is a metal. Take this chair. This chair is made up of plastic. Plastics are non-metal. So there are many things that surround us which are made up of metals and non-metals. In this lesson, we are going to see their properties and uses.
While most and non-metals, you will also be able to understand the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Besides it, you will be able to describe chemical properties of metals and non-metals. And in addition, you will also be able to explain the uses of metals and non-metals.
At the end of this lesson, we all will be able to define the metals and non-metals, define their physical and chemical properties and their uses. Let's get into the lesson.
Hey buddy, what are you doing here?
I am flying a kite. It is too light in weight.
Yes, dear, because it is made up of paper. And do you know that paper is a non-metal item? See there, an aeroplane is also flying high in the sky. It is made up of steel and other metals.
But what are these metals and non-metals? Friends, we use many things in our daily lives. These are made up of metals and non-metals.
We saw a boy and a girl having a conversation. We all can see a boy and a girl were having a conversation there. A boy was flying a kite in the sky. He said to the girl that the kite was very light and he could fly it very easily. The girl said, "Do you know that the paper is a non-metal? So non-metals are very light and soft." At the same time, when they are having the conversation, an aeroplane flew over them. The girl said, "Look, there's an airplane. It is made up of steel. It is a metal." And now we are going to see the tablet which have the things that we use in our daily life, or metals or non-metals.
Properties.
See this tablet column. Aluminium, iron and copper are the metals that we use in our daily life, and wood, coal, plastic are the non-metals that we use in our daily life.
These are made up of metals and non-metals. Dear, now let's know about their properties. At first, we know about the physical properties. The first property of metal is its malleability. By this property, the metals can be beaten into thin sheets. Non-metals don't show this property. Next property is, by this property, the metals can be beaten.
Next, we are going to see the physical properties of metals and non-metals. The first property which we are going to see is malleability. What? Malleability. Malleability is the property which we can turn into thin sheets. For example, take an aluminium block. You can turn an aluminium block into a thin sheet, into a foil sheet. So metals which can be beaten into thin sheets, or the property is called malleability. At the same time, the non-metals like coal, sulfur do not show this exact same property.
Beaten into thin sheets. Non-metals are poor conductors. The property of heat. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, while non-metals are poor conductors. The property of heat.
Next, the second physical property that we are going to see is conduction of heat. Conduction of heat. The metals are a very good conductor of both heat and electricity. Take our daily life. In our daily life, for cooking, we use metals like iron, copper. No, we do not use non-metals like sulfur or something. We always use metals because they are good conductors of heat. If you take a metal item and put it over heat, it will conduct the heat. At the same time, you cannot do it with the non-metal.
Heat. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, while non-metals are poor conductors. The property of metal by which it can be drawn into wires is called ductility. It is the third property of metals. Non-metals don't show ductility.
The third property The third property which we are going to see is ductility. Ductility is the property which metals can be drawn into thin wires. When we use electrical items in our homes like electrical appliance, if you take a look at the wires that are connected, you can see a copper wire inside. The copper wire is always made. The copper wire is a metal. So we all can see that metals are a good conductor of electricity. We already saw metals are good conductors of electricity. So they are also good conductors of heat. This helps us in wirings in our homes. At the same time, non-metals do not show this property. We can take like coal or sulfur. They do not conduct electricity, nor they can be drawn into thin wires.
Now let's talk about another property of metals, that is sonorous. Metals produce ringing sounds when they struck, so are said to be sonorous. The materials other than metals are not sonorous. Sonorous. Metals produce ringing sounds when they struck, so are said to be sonorous. The materials other.
The fourth property which we are going to see is sonorous. Sonorous. When we hit a metal item, it will produce a ringing sound. For example, when we ride bicycle, take the bell. If we ring the bell, it will produce a ringing sound which will help us locate something. The ringing sound is the property. The property is called sonorous. The non-metals do not show this property. If you take like phosphorus, which is in a matchstick, if you rub it somewhere or like make some noise with it, you cannot do it like you do it with metal. So non-metal do not show sonorous.
Than metals,